Hi, and today we're going to talk about how important self-care is for the busy mom. And you might be a mom with littles or in-betweens, teenagers, or maybe you're a mom and you're an empty nester now like me. And I don't care what season of life you're in, somehow what happens is that even when our kids grow up, we fill that time with new things. And we can be stressed and overwhelmed just like we were when we were younger with different things. So whatever season, I hope this will be helpful to you. And I want to just sit down with you, and if you have a cup of coffee, to make yourself that or something warm so we can have a little chat about self-care and how important it is for you. And so this is what self-care is. Self-care is when a mom participates in activities that helps her take care of her own personal health and well-being. And too often we are running ourselves dry, totally empty, and there's nothing left to give because we're burning the candle at both ends. So that the candle at one end, we're staying up past midnight, and then if you're like me, you get up too early after staying up too late. And for other people, it's staying in bed too long or getting up and just racing through the day and trying to catch up with the day the whole day. So which one are you? Sometimes what happens is because we don't take care of ourselves, we run our adrenals dry and we deplete ourselves of energy. We end up having issues with melancholy, which is kind of just feeling blah all the time, and it's on the verge of being depressed. Or you're actually dealing with depression, or you run into other health issues, whatever they are, because you didn't take care of yourself. And I'm not saying that because you have a health issue, that you're not taking care of yourself, but in some cases that can be true. And what if you could take better care of yourself and even slightly improve your health and your wellness? And we want to have mental clarity and mental well-being and emotional well-being. And emotional well-being was something that I was all out of whack. My hormones, my emotions, back in those years through perimenopause and menopause, I was a mess, literally. And so I've learned through all these things what I'm sharing with you today. So as a Christian, you probably feel that self-care is wrong. And with self-care comes that whole idea of how you need to love yourself. And I see it all the time. And there can be extremes. You can be right here and balanced in the middle, or you can be over on an extreme one way or the other. So you can go with self-care, that self-love thing, until you are to the self-indulgent stage or state of being, instead of the purpose of self-care that you might have as a believer, to take care of yourself and love yourself enough that you have that love to give others. So if you wanted to start taking care of yourself and you are so busy because you're a mom and it's demanding, and maybe you have a ministry, maybe you have a job, maybe you have a lot of stuff going on, and your kids, your husband, whatever ages they are, even older adult kids, they can be demanding on our lives, and we want to respond to them and help them. And you can just deplete yourself. And so this is where you can start. If that's you, if you can identify with this, and you are spending little time, hardly any time for yourself, and you're staying up to midnight, and you back up by 5 or 6, this is for you. And even if you're the mom sitting on the sofa because you're so depressed. So I want you to have balance. And this is where you start. You start by, say, spending 15 minutes a day reading. It can be reading the Bible. It can be reading a book that you want to read just to unwind. Doing a puzzle for 15 minutes. Have the puzzle out and just spend time doing that. Whatever it is, the kind of things that you like. And then you can maybe spend 15 minutes reading the Bible, or you can spend 15 minutes to work out. You might not have a half an hour. You might not have an hour. Even though my kids grew up, I rarely have a whole entire hour to work out. I'd love to, but it doesn't happen very often. Self-care can be such a neglected thing. And like I was saying, that we feel guilty for doing anything just for ourselves so often because we're told it's wrong. We're told, just so often told that it's wrong, so we don't want to do any of it. And even time with Jesus, many of us have it. There was a time when my kids were little that it was a blur. I can't even remember whether I had my quiet time or not. And then there came a time when I could have it every day. And I actually started by reading my Bible aloud to them at the breakfast table because I couldn't find any other time because I had a baby waking up at night and so forth. And then it gradually got into time when I could just be alone. And then eventually it was just so strange to be able to stay in my room with my door closed without having to sit where I could be interrupted if they needed me. So you are worth it. You are of worth to your family, your husband, your children, your friends. But if you don't take care of yourself, you will be of no worth to them because you'll wear out and you'll be run down and you won't emotionally or even physically be well enough to give. You'll be too tired. Your adrenals might be shot. I am not talking about the kind of self-care that has self-love to the extent that you're indulging in yourself and you're just constantly doing stuff for yourself and you get a babysitter and you go out do something with the girls all day long, all the time. I am not talking about that. And so Jesus knew that if we love ourselves, we can love other people better. That's why he said that he gave the command to love others as we love ourselves. He knew we already did. That's why we don't have to emphasize how we need to love ourselves because we already do. We just need to spend time doing something that we love to do so we can unwind and regroup so we're ready to serve. That's the whole purpose. And so Matthew 22:39 says, "You shall love your neighbor as you love yourself." So the whole purpose in self-care is so that we can love ourselves so that we can love on others. So the purpose of self-care is so that you can regroup, so you can have love to give to others. I can't emphasize that enough. So do you neglect your self-care? Do you neglect yourself physically? Do you neglect yourself mentally, your emotional health? You might hardly be able to get through the day, but you're pushing yourself through the day. Or because you can't get through the day, you're not even getting out of bed. You're not even getting up off the sofa for hours. Or you waste your time on social media in some way or another and waste hours because you can't deal with what you ought to be doing. And you're shutting that out. Your house is a mess, and your house is a mess because you're not taking care of yourself properly. Maybe getting through the day is the extent of your self-care. That's all you can do right now. You're in survival mode, and that's okay. And you can start doing something for yourself in baby steps where you start caring for yourself so you start replenishing your energy. And if you have adrenal fatigue, you have to back off. If you've pushed yourself to that extent, I'm not saying that if you know you have adrenal fatigue or you know you're close to that you start doing all these things for yourself. You may not be able to. You maybe just need to rest and until you can regroup and start building on your health and taking supplements that rebuild yourself, your health part of yourself first. And So are you busy, on the other hand, doing all the things and that are needing to be done and going beyond time-wise even till past midnight and up early like I did, and so that you're not taking care of yourself? Because if that's you, you need to stop. That needs to totally stop. And you need to reclaim your emotions if they're all out of whack. You need to consider too that your emotions being out of whack very likely are your hormones. I realize now more than ever that when my emotions were out of whack, not only was it because I was staying up too late, getting up too early, and having only 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night, but it was hormonally too. And it's so much easier today to find ways to build your hormones back up and get them balanced. So much easier. And you need to find a way to do that. Find supplements that work. And I'll talk about that some other day. But you need to work on that and your physical health before stress and overwhelm totally erode away you. And it can erode your marriage away also, and your relationship with your children. And out of your being very tired, they can detect a spirit in you even if you aren't saying the wrong things. Maybe you're saying the wrong things to them. And all that can be forgiven and under God's mercy, and you can move on. But first, get the supplements you need, rebuild your health, and take baby steps towards rebuilding yourself physically so that you can rebuild yourself emotionally. Because if you're physically where you should be or closer to where you should be, you're going to find it easier emotionally, even as you're in maybe a season where your emotions are out of whack. Some women have more trouble physically with their health as they age, and there are answers. There really are answers that at least can help you. So here are ways to bring back self-care into your routine and into your life when you've neglected yourself. And there are solutions. And no, it's not sinful. I need to clarify this, that it's not sinful to take care of you. When your ultimate desire is to care and love on others, and if you're doing that, caring on your family and wearing yourself out, there's not a sin in that. And you can improve your self-care so you can do a better job of that. And it's not sin to care for yourself. And don't feel guilty for taking care of yourself. It's better to avoid burnout and overwhelm and not get to the place that I was, where I was so worn out. I was at that place when I quit working my job of 10 years. 5 years was after my kids were born. And the last 3-4 years of that, 5 those 5 years I was on the evening shift from 3 to 11:30, and then the graveyard shift. That's working all night, getting very, very little sleep all night. When I first quit, it took me 6 months at the minimum to start rebuilding and getting back to a normal again. And so I don't have any idea how much that lasted, even beyond that basic getting back to normal, because I would wake up in the middle of the night, wake up and change the laundry in the middle of the night for like a long time, just different whacked out habits from working at night and having my sleep messed up. So I have 10 ways that I'm going to go through quickly that will give you ways that you can start taking care of yourself, and you can choose the ones you want. There are many, many more, and you can jump off from there to get ideas. So first of all, schedule. The first one is to schedule self-care into your day. I use Google Calendars, and I color code it like purple for the self-care, and I block it out. And yes, I can block out more than I did when my kids were growing up, even when they were teenagers. I had to have my self-care done by 6. That meant that depending on how early I was able to wake up, 5 or 5:30, it might be really scrunched, and that might include a shower, might include a few minutes of a workout, and it might not. But my time with the Lord had to be before then. Okay, self-care doesn't mean that you go to the spa. All right, it doesn't mean that. You may not be able to do that. I could never afford it, still can't. And it's not shopping. It's not shopping for things. I don't mean the grocery shopping. And it's not overspending on Amazon or at Walmart. Or some people like Target, and they've done the Target thing. And that messes up your marriage because you're charging and overspending. It might be going to a coffee shop. But if your kids are little and you're like me and you lived a ways from people, it might not even be possible. You may not be able to do that. My husband worked about 6 days a week, so he couldn't watch the kids. You do what you have to do. You create the time at home and do it that way, even if that's not maybe the best kind of self-care when your kids are little. Still, you do what you have to do. And if your kids are grown, I will kind of reward myself and go for coffee. Not every day, not once a week, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks. Right now in the winter, doesn't happen hardly at all, if ever. Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. That's Romans 12:2. And that is God's idea of self-care. Renew your mind. And that's the purpose of self-care. So you renew your mind, which also helps to renew your heart, and your emotions are connected with all that, so that when your mind is healthy, you are much healthier. Physically and everything, because a lot of things when you're emotionally unwell, you can erode your health as well. So number 2 is pray. Make prayer a part of your life. And one way to do that is to pray throughout the day and talk to Jesus as if he's really there, because he really is there. 3 is take time with Jesus. Spend time in your quiet time and read God's word. Listen to him talking to you so you can replenish your heart and soul. And it will give you strength emotionally and carry on when you feel like giving up or that you failed. And number 4 is to practice contentment. That's a big one. So many women I've heard are discontent with their house, even their husband. They don't like their children, or they're not satisfied with the things God's given them and blessed them with. And it's to start building a gratitude list where you spend 5 minutes or even less a day, write down 1, 2, or 3, or 5 things that you're grateful for. Okay, 5 is to practice gratitude. In everything, give thanks. Start your prayers like that. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice in it. Start being thankful today for all that God has blessed you with. And then the 4th is rest, something I am very bad with unless I'm sleeping in the middle of the night. But to slow down and rest, I rarely even sit on the sofa. I've been trying to do that more in the evening, but I don't do it very early. I don't stop until about 8. It used to be 9. It used to be 10. When I was raising the kids, it was like I didn't even stop until maybe midnight or later, depending on what I had to do. Really bad for you. And so enjoy your children. As an older woman, I want to really encourage you to enjoy your children. I wished someone had done that with me and encouraged me. I slow down and I play with my grandchildren, but you know what? We don't do that when we're raising children because there's so much to do and we get more in the Martha mode. So enjoy your grandchildren if you're in that stage, or somebody else's kids if you have none. And just get in the habit of learning to sit and do nothing. That's one thing a coffee shop is good for. And I used to take my work with me. I don't always anymore. I often will just sit, do something I want to do, read a book on my phone, and just enjoy just sitting there for a while. and I don't see the laundry or the house, things that need to be done. Number 7 is listen to music, whether it's with your earbuds or with in your car. I love to in the car and sing. Nobody can hear me. They can't hear if my voice cracks or if I'm off key. Or you can listen to a podcast. And number 8 is exercise. I cannot tell you how good this is for you. It gets your dopamine, your good hormones, happy hormones up. It helps you to feel better about your life. It boosts your energy, and those are the important things. Gets you healthy, and that's much more important than the part about losing weight. I don't feel like it really helps me to lose weight when I gain those pounds. It's not the exercise. It's what I stopped eating that I shouldn't be eating. Look after yourself so that you have the energy and the physical well-being to take care of others. Number 9 is do a social media cleanse and just do a fast from it. And step back from social media for a day or for a weekend, longer if you can. I have to be on social media for different aspects of my ministry. And just take a break from it once in a while. Limit your time that you spend on it. You can, through at least Facebook, you can limit your time, and you can have Facebook shut you down on your phone if you're on it for too long. I did that for quite a while. And take breaks from even technology. We sometimes have that happen when we have a power failure, and you have to think of something to do when it's a 5 to 7 hour power failure that doesn't take technology or electricity. The last one is number 10. That's the whole reason for self-care. So all those things you can do to take care of yourself is because of 10, to serve others. The whole reason for self-care. That's it, as far as I'm concerned. You're not caring for yourself for the purpose of loving yourself. You love yourself, so you do some self-care because you want to love others. And Jesus loved us, and he showed us and demonstrated how to love and how to serve others. And he set a perfect example for loving others, and we can follow that by reading through the Gospels. And we were created to serve others. That is the whole purpose. We were created to worship God for the purpose also of serving others so that we could reach them for Christ. So take care of you so you can take care of others. And when you take care of others, there's a dopamine hit. You feel good. And it's so you get more of the feel-good hormones that you want to have, and the whole reason for self-care. So the best self-care is serving others and taking care of yourself so that you can serve others. So take care of yourself today, and I'll see you next week. Oh no, don't tell me you didn't subscribe. Well, if you want more awesome content like this and you want my chats from me to you, hit the subscribe button. And another thing is that I have this class, this course that you will just love. It's called Grace-Filled Living. So if you're struggling and you feel like you're not enough, this class is for you, because I have more content like this that I just shared today and stuff that's not on YouTube that you will love. There's quite a lot in the course just for you.